Good morning. Today I'd like to review a knife. This is the Raider from T-Kell knives. I'll put the link in the description below. T-Kell knives, Marine Corps veteran, handmade, handcrafted, everything made here in the US, all the good stuff. I bought this because it seemed to be, what I was looking for was a knife that would be a good utility knife and also a self-defense option that would be small enough for discreet everyday carry, but large enough to get most jobs done in the field, or whether it's splitting wood, skinning deer, whatever day-to-day tasks I find for this knife. So I like the profile of the blade for that purpose. It's not crazy, it doesn't have any crazy hooks. It's not a tanto point, which is kind of silly in my book. I don't particularly care for them. It's not double-edged. It does have a little bit of a swedge here, the front half of the blade, but it is not sharpened. And then it's got a nice, big, fat, meaty spine right there for my thumb, which I like. I like to be able to put my thumb on the back of the blade and put some pressure down, potentially reinforce it with the other hand if I'm shaving wood or doing something like that. The handle, so my biggest critique for knives is usually the handle because I have large hands. The grips often don't fit my hand. As out of the box, as it came, this grip was frankly small. It didn't particularly feel comfortable in my hand. If you look right here, the back corner of the blade, or the back corner of the handle, there is a corner right there. This Sentry grip is not how it came out of the box. That's an add-on that you can also purchase from them that I added on, which I highly recommend, because that lengthens out that corner. Before, that corner was sitting right there in the meat of my hand. So whenever I would press forward or cut down like this, that corner would dig into my hand. Now with the Sentry grip there, it doesn't do that. I've got a nice rounded edge that sits fairly comfortably right there in the meat. And that's pretty comfortable grip. Same thing in reverse grip. If I were to hold this thing in reverse grip without that, you can see how that corner sits right there in the joint of my thumb, right there in that MCP joint. With the Sentry grip here, it sits comfortably under this little knob right there. It's not actually very uncomfortable at all. It's quite comfortable. Now, these little knurlings right here, that's kind of his signature thing. I don't know, mixed reviews. I haven't used this thing wet or slippery yet, so I'm not sure whether they would provide any additional purpose, any additional purchase. I think that this forward grip right here is this forward knurling right there for the index finger is excellent. A little bit small for my finger. I'd prefer something just a touch larger, but that's probably going to work pretty well for most people. The knife, it comes with the option to buy a trainer, which I have right here. And the trainer is identical in shape, size, and feel. It's very effective for doing any kind of training I might want to do. It's Wednesday, so today is my martial arts day here in the home gym. So I can do all of my strikes, grapple, deploy a knife, and do all of my techniques that I would do with that. Right arm tied up, draw it with my left hand, and go to town, do whatever work I need to do. So, excellent points for having a trainer. That is identical to the knife. I did buy 2 sheaths, and the sheath is my big critique on this knife. I'll explain why here. As it comes out of the box, it has this standard horizontal carry option, which you can put at any point on the spine of the scabbard, so you could have it all the way back here for whatever reason you wanted to. I'm not sure what that would get you. Practically speaking, your options are like this or like this, blade down or blade up. So across the front or scout carry across the back. He also sells this horizontal clip, which has a number of height options where you can set it at any height you like. And that could be boot, that could be vertical inside the waistband, vertical outside the waistband. There's a lot of different ways you can carry it. I don't particularly like horizontal or vertical carry for a knife that is for concealment. The reason why is because if I'm, and this is build specific, if I'm carrying it horizontally across here, it's a long enough tool that no matter where I place it, the end of it's going to stick out. So it either sticks out here, and I print right there, or it sticks out here, and I print right here. Same thing across the back. It's not particularly comfortable for me in scout carry. It's just really, it's a thick, solid object. So when I go to sit down in the car, it digs right there into my lower back, which is, not fun. Vertical carry, run into some similar issues. I can either set the knife high enough so that it doesn't cut into this inguinal crease when I sit or squat, but now I have this big bulge sticking out right there in front. If I set low enough so that bulge is hidden, and there's a limitation to how low you can go with this because the top of the sheath has to be more or less on line with the belt. Here, the top is sitting right here against my stomach, so no printing there, but now when I go to sit, it digs into my inguinal crease. So I'm not a fan of either of those options. I could, of course, hip carry like this, but now, one, it interferes with my rosary, can't have that, and two, I have to reach all the way across to draw with my strong hand, and I don't particularly want a knife that I can only access comfortably with one hand. If I'm over here, well now, this is doable. This is actually how I carry my knife on my battle belt when I'm in uniform. But here, interfering with my carry gun, and again, difficult to access with my left hand. So the solution that I came up with, I just happened to have this Kydex belt loop that was sitting around my garage from one of the bazillion sheaths I've had over the years. And it's just a simple loop of Kydex like this. Screwed it into the sheath at roughly a 35-degree angle because that's where the holes were pre-drilled. And I didn't modify it at all, it's just something that I had lying around. Screwed it together, made it work. Sits right here at a nice comfortable 35, 40-degree angle, something like that. Did not take a protractor to it. Clips into the belt loop, sits onto the waistband. Prints just a tiny little bit if I'm wearing a tight t-shirt. Moral of that story is don't wear a tight t-shirt. Doesn't print too bad at all with this sweatshirt on. I can sit and squat and it doesn't dig into my inguinal crease. So if I had one critique for T-Kell knives, I would say design a diagonal carry option. I think diagonal carry for a knife opens up an awful lot of a lot of potential solutions to problems for you. This, like I said, very easily accessible with either hand. Obviously, if I'm drawing with the Sentry grip with my left hand, now I have it in a reverse grip. Whereas if this were a double-edged knife, that wouldn't be an issue because no matter which way I draw it, there's an edge facing forward. It's not really a drawback. If I'm using it in a self-defense scenario, there's applications for that reverse grip like this, the gripping and pulling stuff. Nice knife. A little expensive, but that's what you get for handmade, all in America. And I like his company. I like what he's doing. I like to support veterans, and for what it is, I think it's actually an excellent utility knife versus self-defense knife. Good for everyday carry. Good for pretty much everything I'll ever need with it. And that's all I'll get to say about that.